Welcome to Week Gen C.
Focused on young adults in the Northwest
And their careers in a post-pandemic world. Fancy yourself a successful entrepreneur?
We talk to local star entrepreneurs, finding out how they got to where they are.
And what they learnt along the way.
How's it going? I'm sitting with local entrepreneurs. Thanks for coming and chatting with us. Who or what inspired you to start your own business?
No, well, basically all of us, there's 4 of us in total, we're just all about the same age. We started it when we were about sort of 19, 20-ish. It was just everybody sort of like a shared interest in clothing and stuff like that there. So I think it was just one of the things. There's you see people in America and some parts of England and that have like sort of shops that have like brands you'd actually want, and there you're limited to like a handful of places to go to. So we just thought if we had sort of the resources there to just try it out ourselves and just sort of spiral from that onwards, because there's enough other people that obviously had the same feeling too, so it was good.
And yourself?
I kind of just fell into it. I started last March during COVID. A friend needed a website done, so it just kind of rolled, and then people kept messaging her, asking her.
So you already had those skills and all that?
I went to McGee and did 4 years there, but I never did nothing with it. I did computer science, and I never just.
You thought may as well now. May as well start using
it
them.
just kind of happened then. So.
And yourself, Joe?
Mine was being scant. And then I came across a good few years back, I came across a Richard Branson video and him talking about him having dyslexia, and I have dyslexia myself, and it always held me back to try and do things and to try and move forward. So just watching that, and I'm like, look how successful this man is. And it just made me push it and start my own business. And I can't work for other people.
And what sort of challenges did you face when you started your business?
Everybody doubt me. And that's down to friends and family and just random people even that you went to about your ideas and said, what do you think is, trying to get opinions. They're all doubting me, but it was a challenge at the start because I was like you're my friend, or you know what I mean, you should be. And then I was like, no, well, I'm going to show you. And so I used that as motivation, and then I did. So
usually when you're starting something like that too, but it's because what you do is sort of the first in the town that's doing it. So sometimes it's for something new. People sort of have to really it's your vision is what I mean. You know what I mean? So sometimes people don't really get it. Like
they don't, but people don't like change. We're a creature of habit, you know, and it's annoying for a lot of people, but people just don't like change.
I suppose the space for the market was there, so took advantage of it. And yourself, Shauna, any challenges?
No, not really, because I started during COVID and I was working full time prior to that, so I had all the free time.
Yeah, the time to do it. Made it
my
easy
dad
for
has
you.
an office, so I just kind of went onto his, did 9 to 5 up in his office and just kind of did my own thing. I didn't have anything else going on, so.
And yourselves? Any challenges?
I think probably the biggest one was just being young. It was the biggest thing, because you get a lot of people, like a lot of self-doubt, and probably just think like if you were to come with like a business plan, they'd probably be like, what are you going to do with this? So if we were to allocate you funding, what are you going to do with that? And I think it's just all going to get sort of like wasted essentially because of your age. So I think that was like the initial barrier, and then I think once people started seeing how it was working, then I think it was like, right, maybe we should actually pay attention to this a bit more, and it should have a bit more sort of respect.
Is that something you had to do? Like, did you have to convince people like this project has potential for the funding? Is that something you had to convince
I think you
funders?
sort of had to show nearly everybody in a way too, because it's one of the things like a lot of people would just come up with an idea and then next weekend the Instagram page is deleted, or it's just, you know what I mean, it's nothing to do with it anymore. So I think we just sort of had to keep at it a wee bit and chip away at it gradually, and then
persistence,
stuff like that. And then it's not really until like your auntie or someone texts you and goes, seen that there thing you done, then you're like, right, well if it's reaching the top of Craigan, then it's definitely going through the town.
Exactly, yeah.
I just like they related with boys, and when I started when I was younger too, like nobody would take me serious. Like, I'm going into offices and talking to people. This was, you're chatting in 2012 when I started Contact Media, and a couple of them actually says like, well, you're too young to own your own business. And I'm like, what planet are you living on? Like, do you know? But now I have the last laugh because now they're advertising with me. So
Exactly,
that's what I mean. But it's a hard challenge, and I understand where the boys are coming from, especially when you're younger.
On that note, actually, too, I just want to mention too, we were grateful because see, Ronan from Atelier Hairdressers, he was probably only growing up to sort of actually properly hear us out, and he took on what we were saying and took us serious, and he did help us a lot actually, like starting and stuff. So as we should at the Ronan there.
So just keeping at it then is.
Just keep pushing forward. Just keep going. Like, you know, and you'll see these type of quotes and stuff online on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And it is all good in reading them, but if you do them,
you gotta go do it. It's different.
Practice what you preach. It definitely works. Like, I mean, I had everybody pushing at me and people trying to steal my idea. Well, not steal the concept of what I was doing in the town and stuff. So you just keep pushing forward and knocking down the barriers, like it's great.
Kylian Mbappe said, "Don't talk to me about age. Talk to me about levels."
Absolutely, without
100%. And what's the biggest mistake you have made since starting your business?
Me, everybody's is a bit different because I know the boys is working together and stuff, so I don't want to be taken away from it, but having a business partner. I learned twice, so full me twice, as they say. But no, mine was I had a partner at the start with Contact Media, but I went on and done it myself. And then I had a partner with Anita Delivery, and I went in and done it myself. But it was having a partner was what I mean.
You gotta find somebody you can trust.
And I'm not knocking the people as a business people. They generally would be good. They are good people.
Just gotta be careful.
They just couldn't run a bath.
Fair enough. And yourself, Shauna?
I think just having the confidence, like sometimes you just don't have the confidence to go out and do it yourself. But people behind you like I have a wild good support system. All my friends were so good. Like when I did decide to do it, and I think it was just having the confidence myself to go and do it. Because you don't want to start up them Instagram, like as you say, like so many have popped up in the last year and just dropped off the face there for then the next day. But like it's just having that confidence to actually create your Facebook page and your Instagram page and put yourself out there.
Can be scary, but then once you do it,
You have to stick with it.
you have to. You're 2 feet in then.
You know.
And yourselves?
Well, it's sort of just at the start you're trying to please people. See, being too nice nearly, like you've a fear of disappointing people, and you sort of try it in your eyes, and now you go sort of above and beyond for people, and they don't really recognise that either. So I'm not saying be selfish, but I'm just saying like don't worry as much
what
you know
other
what I
people
mean?
think. Do what you want to do.
Because you try to keep too many people happy. You can't like.
I know.
You can't keep everybody happy.
True.
Like,
and who would be your business hero, your role model?
It's a tough one because it's like one of my things, like you don't want to like say like a celebrity or something like that, but I'd probably actually just say like my father, because like he just like would just get up every day and just work every day without failure, and you'd never hear a complaint out of him, like, and then it's not until like later on in the evening then you would just sort of hear him talk about how mad a day he had, and then I'm sitting there thinking, geez, that puts me in perspective. That makes me look like I was just sitting watching TV all day or something.
Makes you want to go out and make
so
some of yourself.
say probably just like from the wage,
Yeah.
probably just that sort of thing, just working flat out and stuff like that. This is probably as best as I could say anyway, because it's actually something I can like relate to as opposed to some sort of fictional person that I wouldn't really know.
And yourself, Ryan?
it would, like not to sound like a cop, but it would be sort of like my mom and father too. It's just anything. And in life in general, just they have been to sort of there to sort of keep you right and keep you in the right direction and stuff. And I'm grateful they're both there to help and stuff. So.
100%. And Shauna?
I'm on the same road, like my mum and daddy. They've been nothing but good since I started. Like they got me in here, like pushed me to go out and be more confident and get the jobs on, and just they've always been behind me. I've been working since I was 15, and they just push you constantly to go and do better. And seeing them work full time, I'm just like, that's what I want to do. So definitely them too.
What about yourself, Joe?
My man, I hated me, so thanks for what you. No, I would have been my parents, just in different levels. With my father, we work, and then my mother, we raising 5 boys. So they may not been in work, but they're still working that. You know what I mean?
100%.
So, but on the business side of things, but we actually one of my best friends. He owns Mobile Medic. Just the work that he does is.
I've been on there. It's good. Quick.
Just like, and that's my best smoker of mine. Hey, and he started for nothing. He really did. Like he started for nothing, and just seeing the work and being in his shop and watching him, and I'm like, wow, like if he can do it, I definitely can.
100%,
You know, it's just like, so about it. It's just the local businesses as well. Seeing a lot of local people doing their own thing. No, if I was younger now and seeing the boys.
Big inspiration.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I've been in the boys' shop, and
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's
class.
some setup. Like it definitely. I was around with them a couple of times. I was in your first shop.
Hey, you're barred now, but
I got 3 on the bars harder. But I was in your first shop down at.
You've seen it from the start.
That's right. I seen it from the start, and then I was up in the new one, and just
Waterloo Street now, isn't it? The new one?
Waterloo Street now, yeah.
just seeing the boys, like it's just like class. Fair play to them. Do you know what I mean?
What's the best thing about working for yourself?
Best thing about working for yourself.
Lions.
I actually don't. Any decisions you make are yours.
You don't have to answer to anybody.
The penny drops with you, and you generally can do what you want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got the freedom, like.
I just couldn't work for other people. Hey, I've done it for years, and I had a great boss. I worked in a bagel factory for about 4 or 5 years. Used to be in the Richmond Centre, and she's the best boss I ever had in my life. Like if I had to, I would go back and work for her tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? But anybody else I've worked for, hey, I just couldn't work for other people. It was another thing that motivated me. So I need to do something myself. Being able to do what you want.
And yourself, Shauna?
Just exactly what he said. Like you don't have to listen to anybody or do anything. You can just do it yourself. And as you say too, you can get up and go what you want, or just take
You're
off
on your
what
own
you
schedule.
want. Aye. You're not stuck to a 9 to 5. Like you can do whatever you want.
What about yourselves?
Like obviously we all share the same sort of thing and all too. It's just, but like you can run with that too much sometimes. You see when you have other people involved and it's not yourself. Obviously it's when it's just yourselves. You don't like. We're lucky enough if there's a day or two we want to take a break or there's another person there to sort of like help and stuff. But you can get carried away sometimes too, and you don't want to make people think that you're taking a hand or anything. You know what I mean? So
You can definitely get too comfortable. Like I've done it.
it comes down to actually having respect for the person you're working with too, because like our mentality is like if you're messing about, you're messing the other person. You know what I mean? But
It's good to have someone to rely on as well too.
all big time. To be fair, we wouldn't have got as far if it wasn't for the help with like
The
many,
40s.
you know what I mean?
But even someone's attitude then would be like, well, if he's taking 3 or 4 days off this week when he says he's not going to do the same, and then he's all doing it and the shop's not open.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So you have to have respect. I definitely relate to that. Like,
The thing I'd say, like probably like the biggest thing about it is like the fact that once you're like fully accountable for all your own income independently, and you're thinking like, no, I'm not waiting for right. It's a quiet week, but I get paid at the end of the week. Like, no, like you have to make your money. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Once you have that drive and ambition that sort of makes you right. I need to do X, Y, and Z today, no matter when I get it done. So it's sort of, I don't know, it's like a sort of big kick to get you up every day as well, and actually make you go out and do more. As well, I think, as opposed to like working for a company where even if the business is slow, you know you're going to get a pay packet at the end of the week. Like, you know
It does change your mentality. Like it gives
motivate you even more.
Gives you more of a drive and stuff in general to actually get up and do stuff.
What qualities would you say a young business leader would need?
I think it's just being disciplined and passionate, and not being fazed by much sort of external sort of stuff from other people and what they might say or do, because they're, as a young person, is incredibly toxic, and you know, as soon as you put yourself out there, you're the subject of every group chat on the town probably. Look at this person doing this and making a YouTube channel and TikTok and all sort of stuff. And I think before that was like a big thing that everybody probably got a lot of stick for. I think now it's a bit more accepted, but I think it just took too long to get become accepted, like as opposed to somewhere like London or Dublin or even Belfast. You know what I mean? It's
a lot
like
more
own
common.
thing. Everybody's doing something different, like so.
I think a key thing to actually do is just sort of, if you have your own sort of group of people, just worry about the opinions of the people you actually.
That matter to you,
If you would go to for advice, you worry about those people. You know what I mean? If they're saying something's wrong, you know what I mean? So.
When it's more constructive and not just pettiness.
100%. Because if you focus too much on that, you'll not leave a house.
I know, true. And yourself, Shauna?
I would just focus on myself and like my bubble, like my family and friends. There's no point, as you say, thinking about what Half a Dairy thinks, because you wouldn't get anywhere. You'd be scared to like put yourself out there of what everybody's saying in the group chats and all, and you just don't get anywhere then.
And yourself, Joe, what any qualities?
that an entrepreneur should have. Can you say the word there now? Entrepreneur. It's a new word there. Mine was at the start was take criticism, regardless of, take it on board, but just always go with your gut in the end up. Do you know what I mean? And be motivating to others and motivating yourself. It was always a thing with me.
And how did you overcome any doubts when you were starting your business?
Seen the first bit of money come on.
First paycheck wasn't.
The doubts would have been kind of contradicting myself here now, because it's going back to family and friends. Other ones was saying, "No, you can do it, man. Go for it," and that's a cracker idea. Do you know what I mean? That would have helped me. But the first one then was the paycheck. Was the Bentley. They were the first business to support me, and I'll never forget it because I had no money. When I started Contact Media, I had no money left. We were ringing out TVs, and the Bentley were the first ones. I met them at the wedding, at a wedding, and they said to me, "When you get it up and running, we'll support you." And they did. There was no messing about. Went to the meeting, they pulled a check out of pocket, and I mind, I was like, "This is great." It's like I didn't have 2 pennies to make a jingle, so I was, and that made a difference. It definitely did, like.
And any doubts for yourself at the start? And
you just doubt yourself and whether or not you can do it, or if it's going to go anywhere. Like I did a girl in the town that did Doherty's, and it just took off after I did hers. But you just didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And then more people were messaging her, being like, oh, who did your website? Who does your social media? Like, who does this? And then people were messaging me then on my private Instagram, and I was like, do you know what? You just have to bite the bullet and just go for it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, happy
Exactly,
days.
may as well try.
Nearly a year later, I'm still at it, so it went
Happy
somewhere.
days, I know. And yourselves, any?
Well, you always have that shared doubt if it's actually gonna. And the one thing that always gets me to this day, it's whenever you see someone actually talk to you about it, saying like they actually like the stuff or like they like what you're doing. You know what I mean? You always being shocked nearly. You're just like you feel very awkward. You know what I mean? But you just always had that sort of doubt if it was gonna go anywhere. And when you see people actually taking it and stuff, and people supporting it, it actually goes. It's mad what it means to you. Like
Clears the doubt then.
aye.
Did you have to make any sacrifices when you were starting?
Well, I'd say definitely to start off with, like, because like sort of tying on the last point on this too, like, because it sort of ties into like the doubts as well. Like like personally, like I'm at uni and I'm on my last like 2 weeks now of final year, and everybody in my course is getting jobs and grad jobs, and they're like in the field, like, and it's law and marketing that I'm doing. So it's like everybody's like, oh, I'm going into Belfast, I'm going to Dublin, and like me, I'm just happy running our business, and I just want to like apply what I know to scale that as big as I can. But when you're betting on yourself like that there, and then you're hearing everybody else getting 20, 30, 40,000 pound a year salaries, you know what I mean? And you're just thinking to yourself, no, I'm just going to do that there. That's one of my things. So you're sacrificing a lot in that regard, like, because I want always, like when I was away and I wanted to do my placement year in America, I wanted to go off, and then when that opportunity arose, it was just as we were starting our shop, and I just thought, well, when do you ever get an opportunity like this to present yourself?
True.
Like, no, so
I suppose you always have that to fall back on too, you know what I mean? But business is blooming too, anyway, so.
keep it going, just.
And yourself, any sacrifices?
No, not really. Well, no, not really. I started mine, as I said, in March last year, and I work on Greening and Burt, so we had finished up and closed because of COVID, so I had nothing going on, nothing happening, so jumping onto that there kind of gave me something to focus on.
100%. Any sacrifices, Joe?
Partying. When I say partying, it would have been just a few nights a week drinking and stuff, but going off of the drink the 3 nights a week made a big difference. Relationship with my friends and even my partner, do you know, as well, because a lot of people don't realise this, and even younger ones now will be coming up and trying to be an entrepreneur and start their own business. Like I really don't care what anybody says. It's 24 hour, because you may have the likes of the lads have a storefront. You may have your own business and stuff, and you may lock your doors and all, but your mind's still going. Do you know what I mean? And then because of the technology of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and you know, your mind's still going. Do you know what I mean? But I generally believe the whole concept of me saying that 24-hour entrepreneurship, it doesn't feel like it, because if you love what you do. Like, I really don't, and I never noticed this. It was my wife says it to me a few years ago. She says, you worked 10 days a week, you know, and I was laughing. I was like, what do you do? She says, like, she notices me out for meals doing this with my hands or counting or whatever. No, she says, you don't realise it, but because you love what you do. So see, when you love what you do, it's great, and the money comes in a lot easier. As long as you love what you're doing, that's how, but there was big sacrifices. Friends not seeing me as much, and even my partner and stuff, but they've all accepted it, and
You work around it.
they've been very they've been supportive too. That's why I was saying about contradict myself, where you have friends and family doubting you, but then you have the other half would be supporting you. So
If any, what's the best piece of advice you ever got?
I don't actually ever got any. I actually don't know. I actually don't. Oh no, actually, my friend Muller says to me, she says when she started her business, NPA recruitment, she says I think she had that business for 3 years before she could buy a set of pencils for the office. And I was like, really? She says, aye. She says, no, I always remember that. She says 3 years before we could afford to buy pencils. You know what I mean? And I was like, and she says, so it's not easy to start. It's all great and you're buzzing and you're happy and you're excited and all, but then that soon kind of falters out. This is hard, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. And you get your challenges and your bumps on the road. She says, but just keep smoothing through it, like, you know.
Shauna, any?
Just stick at it.
Stick at it.
Look, if there is wild hard weeks and there's like a few weeks that you go out without no work, but you just have to stick at it and keep working, and hopefully it picks up again then.
And yourselves, best piece of advice you ever got?
Probably sounds well cheesy, but I was reading this here like a few like books and all years ago, but just before we started it off, and it was like this one like called Tools of Titans, and it sort of just interviewed all people that were like successful in their own sort of fields, And it was just like they were all asked like, what advice would you give out? There was one boy and he said something that just stuck me, and it was saying like your lack of motivation is like an insult to people that like believe in you. So it's basically just saying like by you not doing something, like you're letting down all the other people, like your parents and your friends and family and stuff. So by sure just applying that there, like if there's a day you're not really bothered to do something, then you just keep at your mind and you're like, right, like I can't be disappointing people essentially, you know what I mean, by having like a lazy day or stuff like that. So sort of just like that there, just keeps you
Very
going.
insightful.
What was it? Say it again.
Your lack of motivation is an insult to people that believe in you.
It's class.
Yeah, like that there. Had a wee Facebook quote tonight. We
lad.
had Peaky Blinders or something up us there.
I'll not even add on anything, I'll leave it at that one. I'll just tag along with one.
What do you wish you knew before you started the business? What do you wish you could have known then?
I don't know, it's just one of them things. I think everything is just a learning curve. I just think like there's nothing, you should never go into something knowing everything because you'll think you're a know-it-all. So I think it's better going on there as like a novice, like a sponge, just soaking everything up and taking it as it comes, because then you'll learn, right, something that I really thought was going to work didn't work, and then you just learn from sort of experience and everything else. I just think like, because there'll be times you might be thinking about a design or something, we think that's really going to do well, and then you might be a bit surprised, but then another one that you didn't really have as much faith on might actually do really well. And again, it's just sort of fielding different ideas and seeing what works and what doesn't.
And yourself, Shauna?
I think actually how to go self-employed, like properly, like on the books and your taxes and your national insurance and stuff like that there. Like I knew nothing about that there.
There's a lot more to it you have to think about.
You just think, oh, I'll just sign on tomorrow. It's like not that easy, and all these like emails and like mails coming on the door, and you're just like, what do I do with them? Who do I give them to? So my dad is an accountant, so I was just like, here you go, like help me. But people don't know that. Like you're not taught how to go self-employed or what to fill out or anything. So definitely.
That is
not
actually
there.
that's something we'd actually all talk about a bit. But it's like in school you learn nothing about this. Like you're.
But even like what is your national insurance? Like why am I paying for it? Like my dad was all, it's 159. I'm like, but what am I getting out
I
of
still
that?
don't know.
It's like all you hear through school is like, oh, you need this to get a job. It's like you can't, like you're not learning
They
nothing.
teach you to work at 9 to 5. They don't really teach entrepreneurship. They don't teach you how to control money and how to like, you know what I mean? Like,
A big thing is control money. You see one thing, like before any of this here, like I was terrible like with money. Stall you up a bit, like
good at making it, is that?
alright, like but
Better at spending it.
They in school they teaching about the Norman days in Prince William. Look, what are you chat? Come on, seriously.
1066.
Seriously. You know what I mean? But I do think some schools have changed. I do think they are trying to teach entrepreneurship now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I vaguely mind hearing people saying things like that. But I hope they do.
Definitely something that would be beneficial to students. Like
I feel like that's a thing that's sort of coming about in the town more now. So there's probably a lot more people in school asking the questions. You know what I mean? So they probably think like they have to acknowledge it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was the question? Sorry.
what did you wish you knew before you started?
How hard it was going to be, and to be patient. Start, I was cracking up. I was so angry. It was just such a hit the world, you know, and hated everybody in the town when I started. You know, I had this attitude like if I wasn't from Derry, if I was somebody coming from England or America, I'd be a millionaire in a year. They would all jump on the bandwagon, support me. It's because I'm from here that they're not doing it because I'm young. And it broke me down, like it did. But as I say, I kept going and going. But was being patient, I think, would be a big thing for me.
Is your business now exactly as you first imagined it to be? And if not, what's changed?
It's better than I thought it would be, to be quite honest with you, and it's a massive thanks to the dairy people that I was just being angry about. But no, it's definitely better than
Exceeded expectations.
and we contact media. I needed delivery. I needed delivery about 4 weeks before the pandemic. There's deliveries from local shops and butchers. It's not nice to say, but the pandemic helped some people and a lot more.
That is true, yeah.
But we've given a lot of people jobs. A lot of shops have told us that they brought on extra staff, they brought on extra stock. We've given the likes of taxi drivers delivery jobs and stuff like that. So, you know, it's worked for some, didn't for the other. But both businesses, contact media is quiet obviously because it's advertising. Anita's crazy. Like we've 7 drivers now at the minute. You know what I mean? So it's
Flat out as well.
It's been a lot better than I'd ever expected so soon. You know.
Yourself, Shauna?
When I started, I thought it would just be kind of wee side jobs on do it the weekends because I work full time. But then a month ago, 5 weeks ago now, I actually got an office on here, and it's like
You got an office space and everything's getting
it's
pretty
like
serious.
I actually have to take it serious now, and just somewhere to meet clients and all too. Because before, like especially with COVID, like, you can't meet anybody anywhere or like invite anybody in. So The fact that I have an office now, it's like, whoa,
Some
shit,
professional
got
aesthetic
real.
helps. And yourselves?
Like initially, we actually started as a Facebook group. Like we just made like a community sort of thing, and like I think we still have the sort of same mentality going forward. It's like we don't really, I don't want to make it sound like we're just going off the way things like, but we don't. We try to be thinking of different things we can do. You know what I mean? So we're not just sort of sticking to one thing. We're trying to like beforehand. Like one of our first things we ever done was like a film night. Like we done a film night in the Nerve Centre, and we've done pop-ups in Belfast. We actually had ones lined up in Letterkenny and Dublin, but COVID and stuff. And obviously there's the shop, and like we have our brand and stuff. And then like we'd be thinking about other things. We got shoes, and then the next thing, we're thinking about different brands to get in. And you're just sort of thinking about things that's involved with everything we would sort of include ourselves in. You know what I mean?
So you would say you have surpassed what you thought the business was
All
going to
big
end up
time. Like we started off with like 30 t-shirts. You know what I mean? So we're sitting here now. We're all. You know,
If you were to hire somebody for your team, what's the main thing you would look for?
Definitely, I would just say just passion and knowledge for what they do, because what we do is so niche, because like all the brands we'd have in the shop, it's like you can't take someone on and teach them all that. You'd rather someone come to you and they tell you, no, I know that brand, I know about that brand, and you want someone that's like just on par with yourself. And there's a lot of young people in the town especially that are like that now too, everyone now. Because I was working on Top Man before I worked here, and we boys had their mothers' heads wrecked coming in, and it wasn't like it was in the past where you like 20, 30 pound, we get you sorted. They're like saying, I want these 200 pound shoes next door, and they better be a colour, if they're not, I'm going to fall out with. And they know everything that they want, and that sort of mentality. But now I think it's been embedded in people younger now, they sort of know what they're after. And so I think because out there, like that's sort of what you'd be looking for, someone that just that really, you don't really have to teach that much, and respect what they're trying to like sell you essentially, because it becomes more natural then too. It's not like someone's just bringing like a sales pitch at you as well. It's actually like from the heart.
because it's funny too. Whenever you get like your mom or daddy being like, "I'll come on if you need covered," and all, you're like, "Geez, you know, like, you know what I mean?" I can stand there and all like, how do you like that? Just, you know what I mean? You know, just push that out or something.
And yourself, Shona?
I don't know, I think it's hard because you have 4 of you, some just me, so it's like, it'd be well hard to bring somebody on because it's like my business, and then if I'm not there, I'm like, I wonder if they're doing this properly, or have they said this to this person, or I don't know, just somebody that was on like the same level as me and like has the same thirst of knowledge for me and just wants to continue to do better. It'd be hard to bring somebody on.
And yourself, Joe?
Be a lot of things, just it's same as this boy says, it's knowledge and knowing what it is, but you would put that in most jobs. You're putting out for a job, you have somebody with experience, but just to be a nice person doesn't cost you anything.
True, yeah, it makes the job a lot easier.
Even if someone is rude or you know what I mean, just be nice.
I can say from my own experience as well, especially we work with people, you just all nice and you get along, it makes your job so much easier, no matter how hard the job is, like for this.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming and chatting with us anyway.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having me.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.